Hey guys, Miss Mac here. We're going to do our second video in the second part of this project now. So in our first video, you met our new librarian, Miss Rye. She's going to be your librarian starting next year. But in this video, we're going to be adding on to the slide that she created. So hopefully you've already done the first part, which is to create a slide, and you've added images to the second and the third slide, as I have directed you to, plus the citation. If you have not yet done those things, then you need to go back, do those things first. But if you have done those things, then you should be ready to add the information. So we need a couple of things up in order to add the information. First of all, we need the slide itself up. So you need the same one that you started with. So have that pulled up. Then you need the notes page that you created from the first part. So from last week, you need that pulled up, right? Because we're going to get the information from the notes page and we're going to put it onto the slide that we created. So as you can see in the background, I have the one that Ms. Rice started. It's about polar bears. And we're going to go ahead and add information to the slide. Now, I've already created yours with 5 slides on it. Again, I told you to put your images on slides 2 and 3. Ms. Rice doesn't have those on there yet, so we're going to have to add some things and change a few things. So we're going to start off on her second slide. She did a great job of adding an image and adding information, adding her citation, but there's really no space for us to put the information about polar bears. So the first thing we need to do is to change the layout. Now, luckily, we're not actually clicked within it. There's nothing blue here, so that means that we can do things to the entire slide and not just part of it. So we're going to click here where it says layout, and we're going to change the layout. Right now it's title and body, which only gives us one text box, but we need 2 text boxes. We need one for the citation of image and one for the information. So we're going to click this one that says title in 2 columns, which is going to give us another column on our slide to work with. Now, as you can see, it kind of messed up a little bit. So the text box is here, right where the picture is, kind of right in the middle of it, and the information for the citation is up here. So we need to adjust a few things. So let's go ahead and grab our citation and bring that on down. Now, you might not have to do this for yours. It might look perfect, or maybe not. But you can see that for me, it's something I need to do, and it's possible that you might need to do it too. So make the adjustments as needed. All right, now that our picture's out the way, we're going to click into this text box, and as you can see, it has turned blue. Blue means go. Blue means we can do something in it. That's what we want. We want to take the information that we got on our notes page, and we want to put it on our slide now. So we already did our research last week, and we just need to copy that info and put it here. So I'm going to go back to my notes page. And as you can see, we did the topic of polar bears. So on the first section of my notes page, I put a paragraph from the encyclopedia article, just as the instructions said. And so now I just need to copy that paragraph and put it on the slide. To copy, as always, I'm going to use 2 fingers from 2 separate hands. I use the first one. Well, first I put the cursor where I want it so that it turns into a line. And I always do it at the end of the paragraph that I want, or end of the text that I want. So I use one hand to push down, and I use the other hand to drag. I drag going over and up until I have the entire thing, then I let go. I know I did it correctly because it is all blue. If I don't do it correctly, I need to do it again to make sure that I only get the words that I want and I get all of the words that I want. Now that it's highlighted, I know that I can copy it. I push Control and C on my keyboard at the same time. Now, as a reminder, you don't actually see it do anything. You just have to trust that it happened. But I click Control C, and then I'm going to go back to the slide. I already have the cursor blinking here, and the box is blue, and so it's ready for me to put the information. If I hadn't clicked on it yet, and there was no blue box, then I would need to click first. And it even tells me click to add text. So I click, and now that I'm clicking and the cursor is where I want it to be, I can go ahead and hit Control again, and this time I click V, because Control plus V is paste. So I Control V, and now the words that were on the notes page are on this page. So that part's great, but I need to add that citation, right? I need to tell Miss Mac where I got this information from. Now, you should have gotten it from World Book Encyclopedia. So you can do this one of 2 ways. You can either pull the World Book Encyclopedia article back up if that's the easiest thing for you to do. I would prefer you do that because you should be practicing getting on World Book Encyclopedia. So ideally, you'd pull this article back up, and then you would scroll down to the bottom where it tells you exactly how to cite. There's even a little button that says how to cite this article. So you'd click how to cite, and then it gives you several citation options. We're going to highlight and copy the top one, the one that says MLA. So in this case, I put my cursor at the end, I click with one hand, and I scroll with the other hand and get the entire MLA citation. Again, Control C, go back to my slide. Now I need to make sure the cursor is where I want it. Right now it's blinking at the end of the word seals, and I don't want it right there. So I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard until it goes down. I'm going to put an extra space between the two because I don't want it to be right next to the words. I want a space. So now I'll hit Control and V again on my keyboard, and it'll take that citation that we got from World Book Encyclopedia and paste it here. Now that's the proper way to do the citation. However, if you can't remember how to get back to World Book, and that feels like a big ask for you, it's okay for me, for this project, for you to type in the word World Book Encyclopedia. So you could, again, type in World Book Encyclopedia as your citation if you cannot copy and paste it from the actual World Book. But my preference is for you to do the World Book, copy and paste the citation from there. All right, now that we have the information, the images, both citations, we're just missing one thing on the slide, and that's this title. We want a title that tells us what the slide is about. Now this first slide should really just be telling me about your topic, very general way. So that's what we said. We wanted you to find on World Book Encyclopedia information about your topic. And so I'm just going to simply call this slide, or title this slide, Water Polar Bears. Now, as you notice, I click in the title box just like it told me to, and the title box turned blue. I cannot do anything if the box is not blue. But here I go. I'm going to title it, What Are Polar Bears? And that tells Ms. Mac exactly what this slide is about. So that was my second slide. I used the encyclopedia, and I got the image just like Miss Rye did earlier on the previous slide. There's already an image there. For my next slide, I will need to do the exact same thing I did with this one. I'll have another image. You should have already put your other image, and I'm going to copy the information from the website this time. So both paragraphs, however, should be on my notes page already, because that was the first part of the project, to do your research and find your paragraphs. So again, I go back to my notes page, I slide down, and I find the paragraph from the website. So this is the paragraph that I chose to go with. This talks about the effects of climate change on polar bears, because that's something that's really on my mind. So I again highlight the entire paragraph, Control+C to copy, go back, click in the text box where I want it, the box turns blue, Control+V to paste. There's the information, but I also need my citation. So I'm going to go back one more time, and I've already copied the citation onto my notes page. Now with a citation or with a URL, you don't have to highlight and copy it that way, or excuse me, highlight it the way we normally would. All you have to do is click it one time. So if I click it one time, the entire thing should turn blue. Well, excuse me, actually I have to click it a couple of times because it's on the paper, so I apologize. You're going to click it multiple times until the entire thing turns blue. Once the entire thing turns blue, you'll hit Control and C. Go back to your slide. Again, make sure your cursor is where you want it. If I hit Control V right now, it would put it in a weird place, not where I want it. So I'm going to hit Enter until the cursor goes down and leaves a little space. Then I'm going to hit Control and V. And as you can see, it not only highlighted the text that is the URL, but it also highlighted the text that said link to the website. Now, I'm okay with that being on there because that's even more helpful for Ms. Mac to let her know exactly what this is. But you could take that text off as well and just leave the link. The important thing is that the link actually works. So as you can see, as I'm hovering over it, it's showing me an image of how I can get to the website, because Ms. Mac is going to click on this to make sure you actually got good information. the last thing I'd need to do with this same one is to give it a title. So I click in the title spot one more time and I give it the title, Effect of Climate Change on Polar Bears. Again, this is a title that tells Ms. Mac what your topic on this particular slide is about. We know the overall topic is polar bears, but what is this particular slide telling me about polar bears? Okay, so that's enough for the next step. That's a lot to do. So go ahead and follow these steps. Do this next part for your own. Again, your second and third slide needs their information. Do that now, and then when you're finished with that, go back to your directions and see what the next step is. It's coming together really well, guys.